Hello, everybody. It's your host, Dr. Ghost, back at it again on World of Warships Legends. I thought I'd just switch up the intro a little bit. I think I had a comment from somebody in the past that was like, "You should totally do that as like an intro." I don't know. Maybe we'll change it up and spicing things up. Just do weird intros like that. But yeah. Anyway, hello everybody. So today, I wanted to go over commanders. Yeah, I know, crazy, right? Commanders. But you would be surprised how many people out there just are not running, like, high-level commanders. Or they have commanders, but they just never do anything with them. And it's kind of crazy. Like, the amount of people up at Tier 7 that I have been seeing with, like, level 7 Deweys, it's kind of crazy, okay? So, I'm going to go over commanders in this game and what you need to be doing to obtain commanders, what you need to be doing in terms of upgrading them, and how to get different sorts of commanders, okay? There is a lot of luck involved. Like, when you're pulling your first commanders, you're basically just hoping that you get the commanders that you want in each of the commander crates that you get every so often, every week, from challenges and whatnot. So, with all that out of the way, I do want to go over a battle I just had. I think, where was it? Let me see if I can point out service record. Recent battles. I had a defeat in Arizona. It wasn't my fault. My whole team, of course, threw like a bunch of, teammates. You guys get the gist. Teammates love to throw. But let's just take a look and see what people had on their commanders. So, again, it's Tier 5, so I'm not really expecting a lot of people to have high-level commanders, okay? It's Tier 5. I can understand it because most people that have Tier 5 ships, most people who are playing Tier 5 probably are just starting out the game. You can get to Tier 5 really fast if you know what you're doing. I mean, even if you don't, you get there relatively quick. So, just by looking at most of the people's commanders already, basically well over half, if not more, of the team all have level 10 to 12 commanders. Okay, let's see. The Aoba, he had a level 11 Togo. Okay, Togo is the base commander for the Japanese line. He's the base commander. You can use him on any ships. You can use them on carriers. You can use them on destroyers, battleships, cruisers. He is good for everything. I wouldn't say good, but he can apply his skills to every ship class in the game. So there you go. Obviously, I have a level 16 4 Sims. I think I'm the only person on the whole entire team. No, actually, this guy has a level 16 4 Sims as well. So we had a California who also had a really high level commander. But the point being, guys, okay, what I'm trying to point out here is you need to be having high-level commanders, okay? Because they have a high impact in your gameplay. Trust me. Having a high-level commander will make stuff a lot easier for you. Like, for example, starting out with the Americans, okay? On my American battleships, we're talking about free-to-play commanders, by the way. I'm really not going to go super deep into, like, the premium commanders that you guys can get from like events. I'm gonna try to be covering each nation and what the best commanders are for each ship class on each nation, and I'm gonna basically go over how you can get those commanders. And really, the only way to get them is just by pulling them in commander crates. And every week, you can continuously get more and more commander crates, and hope that you just pull all sorts of different ones, and eventually hope that you want, hope you want to get the one that you want, right? So starting out with American destroyers, for example. I'm running a premium commander, but if I did not have the option of Vincent Mordoff, I would run William Halsey. William Halsey is probably the best option for any American DD captains out there. American destroyers are great gunboats. They are great at just daka-dakaing, putting out lots of firepower. You have to know how to play them. We've made plenty of videos on the channel going over how to play ships, but just because I know the American destroyers' strengths, I would want to run a gunboat commander. And the best commander that can do that is William Halsey, in my humble opinion. The reason why is, number one, his base trait. Destroyer main battery AP shell damage. So if you load AP, if you get him leveled up all the way to 16-4, you can get up to 5% extra AP shell damage. Right now, I only have him 16-2, so his AP shell damage is only at 4.5% extra on his base trait. Okay, do you guys see where I'm getting at here? If you level up your commanders, these traits, all of these traits become better, okay? For example, observant range. So, since I have him leveled up quite a lot, I have, like, some traits, it's kind of weird, but some traits you don't have to have a super high level commander to get them maxed out. Like, I have observant range, and look at me now, completely maxed out. And I think that is because I have him rank. I have him past rank 11. I think if you get him past rank 11, I think you can get these 2 first base traits fully decked out. But all you need to know, guys, is you just want to be stacking up Commander XP and just leveling up your commanders anytime you can. Okay. Now, I would not, for example, if you do not have if you do not have any of the actual decent commanders for your ships, do not waste commander. Basically, don't waste commander resources on George Dewey, for example. Okay, do not, because you're probably going to end up switching out George Dewey later down the line and never using him again. Okay. I would not get Dewey that high leveled. Since I've been playing the game forever, it doesn't really matter. But early on, you want to kind of be smart with your commander resources. Do not upgrade commanders that you're never going to use. Okay, do not go crazy with it. Especially, do not level them up to to legendary, because you do not want to use your personal commendations or your universal commendations yet. Okay, because if you use them too early, you're going to have problems later down the line where you're just never going to have any. So save them. Save them for as long as you can until you get the right commander for the ship class that you're trying to, get commanders for. Like if you like German cruisers, you want to get the right German cruiser commander and then get him leveled up, if that makes sense. So kind of stockpile your resources until you have the right commanders and then spend the resources to get them upgraded. That's what I'm trying to tell you guys, okay? Okay, now back over to the Mayhem, right? So since I know the American destroyers are great gunboats, William Halsey provides a lot of good skills that are good for gunboats. Like, for example, Observant Range decreases my reload by 5%. It increases his torpedo acquisition range, so I can see torpedoes out a bit farther than usual, up to 12%. But there is a downside, though. My rudder shift is slightly worse, by about 10% worse. So there's a debuff there. But overall, it's worth it because guns, baby. I run Look at Me Now. This decreases my destroyer detectability. But you could run Mortar, but the problem is you will have a very unstealthy destroyer. You want to find a balance with your destroyers, in my opinion, when it comes to stealth. Okay, you do not want to be too detectable. You want to, on average, you want to have your concealment around 5.5 kilometers, if not less. Okay, anything over that, anything up to 6 is too much. Anything up to 6%, even 5.9 to 6% or higher, that can get you in a lot of sticky situations. Okay, so I always run Look at Me Now. The only time I ever run Mortar is in Brawl. Okay, when you're always spotted. But I like to actually use my concealment. And there is a downside with the Mayhem. It has horrible concealment for a DD. Okay, it does not have very good concealment. So I do not, under any circumstances, want to fuck that up further. Okay. Perceptive. I run Perceptive because this obviously helps out my health. I mean, incoming damage, survivability. Okay, this helps me out a lot because it makes incoming damage a little bit less. So any shells that hit me is going to do less damage by about up to 3% if I get them leveled up more. And also it adds another 4% onto the torpedo acquisition range. But the most important thing from the Perceptive and the Twist and Track skills are the obviously the show direction of the nearest ship. There's basically a little indicator in the middle of your screen, a little half circle that shows you where the nearest ship is. It's basically, we call it RPF, Radio Position Finder. It's the same thing on PC. This skill is insane to have. It's super important to have on especially gunboat destroyers. Okay, I run Smoke on the Water. Smoke on the Water because the American smoke screens are goated. I want to get the most out of them, so I run Smoke on the Water. This increases the dispersion time, and it increases the deployment time. So basically, it makes my smoke screen last longer, and it makes it to where I can drag it out a bit more, so I can spread out the smoke screen a bit more around the map and whatnot for my teammates or just for myself. Now, obviously, this is an old commander build. I never use them, but back in the day, I did use Leviathan. Leviathan adds an extra up to 10% HP to your ship, which can be really handy, having a lot of health on your boat. But however, I now run Unstoppable. The reason why I run Unstoppable is because when my engine gets knocked out, which does happen a lot, especially in gunfights and when you're getting shot at in a destroyer, your engine and your rudder tend to get knocked out a lot. And what Unstoppable allows you to do is it allows you to still maneuver even though your rudder is knocked out and your engine's knocked out. You can still move around, although at a reduced at a reduced rate. Basically, you still be able to turn, but your rudder is gonna be a lot slower, basically, if that makes sense. So you'll still be able to keep your maneuverability somewhat. Okay, not having that sucks. I cannot count how many times where I have had my engine knocked out and it causes me to drip out of my smoke screen slightly, and I get absolutely nuked for it. Or, for example, my rudder gets knocked and I have to wait for my damage control for like 30 seconds. And having this skill right here is so helpful, okay? Because it allows me to still turn and weave and stuff if I'm in a fight, okay? And I get my stuff knocked out. Now, obviously, your inspirations. Your inspirations, early on, this is not going to matter much. But what you want to do is you want to put inspirations on your ship or on your commander that apply to your ship, if that makes sense. So, for example, I'm running William Halsey because he's a gunboat commander, and I love my American gunboats. And what will help me out the most with gunboating? Well, guns. Any inspirations that help me with guns and whatnot, I'm going to throw on here. Now, with the Americans, I actually put on William Sims. I kind of like running him because the reason why is he gives an extra 400 health per tier. Okay, there's all sorts of different things you can do. Now, if like right now, I'm going to switch that over because I know my concealment is so bad, right? A lot of you guys with your destroyer commanders, I would recommend running a commander like, where is he? Eric Bay. Let me go find him. Like, for example, Eric Bay allows me to have extra destroyer detectability. And I can boost it there and just instantly apply them for 21,000 commander XP. And just like that, my concealment now goes from 6.1 to 5.8. So I got an extra 0.3 concealment off, which is huge. That is very significant. And if I really want to go crazy with it, I ran Arlie Burke. This increases my grouping, but I could switch him out and even go more with the concealment, right? I can put on another commander that increases or decreases my concealment. That makes me more stealthier. Like, I can throw on, let's find, there is one more commander I do know that does allow you to have extra concealment. Like, for example, where's he at? I think he's all the way down here. Yeah, here he is. Jersey Swirsky. I can throw him on here. And now my concealment is all the way down to 5.6. So do you guys see where I'm going here? Literally, I shaved off a half a kilometer of concealment just by throwing on inspirations that I have out there. These are other commanders that are in the game that I have highly leveled up. Now, obviously, you're not going to have a lot of commanders to choose as inspiration. So early on, it's not really going to matter much. Just try to apply things that will suit your ship best, okay? Like, if you're running a cruiser, you probably want to put on some inspirations that help your damage for your HE shells and stuff like that, if that makes sense, which we're going to talk about right about now, because now I'm going to move on to the American cruisers, okay? So the American cruisers in this game, I'm going to take off this commander, guys, because he's a little confusing. It kind of just, yeah, I should probably talk about it, though. Commander guises are purely cosmetic. There are some commander guises that add bonuses, like Shredder right here. He adds an extra 35% to my credits earned if I hit 45 main battery shell hits. Okay? So he's really cool to have. But let's say you're probably not going to have that. So the best commander to run would be Norman Scott, in my opinion, for American cruisers. To this day, I still run Norman Scott as my main cruiser commander on all of my American cruisers, pretty much. Obviously, the reasons why, since cruisers are about guns, or about putting out lots of damage, or about setting fires, I want to build into, again, my guns. So, for me personally, running Beyond Range, really helpful. It increases my main battery range plus 10%, which is about a kilometer of extra range, okay? But you could also run Burn It Down XXL to get the extra fire chance. I really don't need it because I'm running Igniter in the next row here. Igniter helps my fire chance, obviously. I mean, you guys can just go through and read all these. Apply skills that help your ship out the most, okay? There's obviously different ships and different cruisers out there. Like, not every cruiser is going to be really good at guns. Some cruisers out there are more focused on, like, torpedoing or being stealthy, and you want to build your commander centered around that sort of playstyle. Each ship type is different in this game. Not every cruiser, not every destroyer, not every battleship plays the same way. And you got to figure out these things and then apply your commanders accordingly to suit the playstyle of that desired ship class that you are playing, if that makes sense. So for me personally, running a lot of these like gun-focused builds on my American ships is helping me out the most. American line is my favorite line in the game. But let's say, for example, I didn't have Norman Scott. Well, then I would obviously put on George Dewey. Most of you guys are going to have George Dewey. Okay, so let me just go over here real quick. What would help me out in my Dallas? This is an American cruiser. It's got lots of guns, right? Well, if I look at George Dewey putting on Burn It Down XXL, that's immediately a no-brainer because it increases my fire chance up to 2%. Boom. That's a no-brainer. This one's a bit tricky. You could run Look at Me Now and be more stealthy, but you're going to be shooting your guns. It's an American cruiser. You probably want Crisscross because Crisscross allows your cruiser guns to traverse a lot quicker. But I can see an argument, too, for Look at Me Now. Having a slightly better concealment can help. But in my opinion, it doesn't matter because I'm going to be shooting my guns 90% of the battle anyway, right? So who cares? Velocious, probably a no-brainer as well. Obviously, this cruiser does not have torpedo bombers. This is not a carrier, okay? And obviously, this cruiser just doesn't have torpedoes in general, okay? So these two skills are irrelevant. Velocious is the only option here for my cruiser. This makes my movement speed higher. It makes me move around quicker and all of that jazz. Now, the next one. Obviously, we do not have HE bombers, so this isn't a completely irrelevant skill. This is a skill for carrier players. But since I am a cruiser, these two skills can apply. For example, reaching out, I'm going to run that no matter what. Reaching out increases my main battery range up to 4% if I get them leveled up. But there's also an option for people out there who like agile builds. There's different sorts of builds you can do. Like if you like maneuvering, you like turning really fast, okay? All the tier 7 hipper enjoyers out there. Well, there is skills for that. Like for example on this one, steer clear, rudder shift time, up to -7% if you get them leveled up more. And of course, up to 7% steering gear repair time. So if your steering gets knocked out, well then you can repair your steering a lot quicker basically. So this just helps out your agility and all that, okay, if that makes sense. And finally, for the legendary skill, the only skill that really applies is fully packed or unstoppable. Will to rebuild is really, you're never going to be using that. It's kind of pointless on a cruiser. You're moving around a lot. You're probably not going to be around teammates 24/7. So running unstoppable would probably be better for agile builds because this helps your engine repair time. It allows you to, this is actually a destroyer this is a destroyer skill. This was on William Halsey, if you guys remember. But for me personally, I like to have more consumables and whatnot. Especially later down the line when you get radars and whatnot on your American heavy cruisers. And even on the light cruisers like Cleveland and Baltimore and all that. This is a really nice skill to have. But hopefully by then you will have a better commander than, obviously, your base commander. Each nation has one base commander, okay? Judging by the, by the icon. Like, see the little icon there? How it's just a ship, but with no line or nothing? That's how you can tell if it's a base commander or not. Like, this is a battleship commander. This is a cruiser commander. This is a carrier commander. Each commander has their own icons, essentially, on all of the commanders in this game, okay? Now, you can be funny. You can put a battleship commander on, let's say, a destroyer. You can do that. It's not recommended because most of the skills on a battleship commander are really only good for battleships. But I have seen people run like battleship commanders on cruisers, and you can get bonuses from them. You can mix and match your commanders is what I'm saying. So, guys, we're about 18, almost 20 minutes into this video. I know it's a lot to digest, but commanders in this game, there's so much you can do. There's so much flexibility. You need to be looking at all of your commanders. Just going through and just finding and experimenting with builds and getting your stuff leveled up. I cannot emphasize this enough, okay? The more we move on to the next lines, it's going to make more sense. You're going to see a pattern here. Like, for example, on my battleships, what do I like to do with my battleships? I like to smack the shit out of people, and the only way to do that is by building into the guns. So I run William Sims. William Sims is probably the best battleship commander for any American battleships. There is also an alternative option. There's Willis Lee. There's a whole bunch of different commanders out there. But I run William Sims. And this guy helps my main gun range. Obviously with this skill. My main battery shell grouping. But there is, of course, a debuff. Okay, for all that extra range and shell grouping, I have a plus 13% chance of getting caught on fire, even more so. There is also gyrating drill bits. I run this because this increases my main battery AP shell damage up to 8%, which is very significant. That's like an extra 2 or 3 grand of AP shell damage, okay? And of course, this increases my gun traverse But the only downside, though, with the extra gun traverse and the extra AP shell damage is, of course, your speed gets reduced, okay, by about 7%. So there is a debuff there. This one also has a debuff. Marksmanship decreases my main battery dispersion by about 10%. But the debuff, because I get the extra dispersion, it increases my rudder shift time. So basically, I'm a lot more sluggish, essentially. But American battleships, most of them, especially the lower tiers, they're all sluggish anyway. You're going to be slugging around, so who cares, right? The extra 5% rudder shift's not going to absolutely kill you. It's going to be annoying, but American battleships, especially early on, are annoying to play when they're in terms of maneuverability and speed. They don't have maneuverability and speed, so what's the point? Okay, the extra dispersion is just going to help you out in the long run when you're running a gun build on any sort of battleship out there. An accuracy build, sniper build, whatever you want to call it. And of course, reaching out XXL. This further increases my range up to 4%. And this, very helpful. There's no debuff to it, just really helpful stuff. And I run, of course, Fight Fire with Fire as my legendary skill. There is an option for torpedoes, but if you play the game long enough, you should not have to run Farsight. Okay? You should... I mean, torpedoes are going to be a pain no matter what. You just need to get used to that. Will Rebuild, again, I used to run Will Rebuild, but the nerfs and whatnot, it's just not as viable anymore as Fight Fire with Fire. This basically allows me to, if I get set on a triple fire while my damage control is down, it basically instantly puts out that triple fire. It basically makes it impossible for my battleship to get set on a quad fire. So it really helps. It really helps a lot. Okay, when you're dealing with a lot of HE spamming cruisers out there in particular. So yeah, and of course I have them all the way leveled up. It took me a long time to get them leveled up, but I got them all the way leveled up. I got them all the way maxed out. Okay, this took a lot of playtime to do. And again, I don't expect everybody early on to have all these commanders like I do. I've been playing this game for 5+ years. I have all these commanders leveled up because I've been playing the game for +5 years and I've spent God knows how much money on this game. But you don't have to spend money on the game to get these commanders. William Sims is a completely free-to-play commander. You can get him out of commander crates. That's how I got him early on. And, of course, I'm running Andrew Cunningham as an inspiration and Otto Ciliax. And these are both free-to-play commanders as well as inspirations. And I got my main battery shell grouping up to 5%. And I have an extra AP shell damage up to 4.75% right here. Two very useful inspirations to have. So, overall, that's the American line. Pretty self-explanatory. All my gun builds on most of my ships. You notice a trend there. On most of my American ships, I run gun builds, okay? Moving on to the Japanese. So let's say, for example, you want to go down the Japanese destroyer line, okay? The Fubuki. Great torp boat. Most of you guys are going to eventually get this thing when you're going down the Japanese torpedo line. And the best commander to run is Raizo Tanaka. Raizo Tanaka, completely free to play. He's very good. I still run him. And he has all sorts of torpedo skills, okay? There is obviously some other options out there, but really Raizo Tanaka is the only no-brainer option to run. Now, if you don't have him, right? Let's say you don't have him. Well, go find your base commander. Your just regular base old commander. Here he is, Togo. Okay, remember there was a guy that we showed at the beginning of the video. He had a level 11 Togo on his Furitaka. And sometimes it's all you got, and that's okay. It's okay to only have, like, a low-level commander, but you need to be trying to, of course, progress from that. You don't want to just keep your low-level commander and never, ever, ever upgrade him or even do anything to get a better one. You want to try to improve and you know, so on and so forth. But since I'm running a torpedo build, obviously, instantly, I'm going to go with all these. Okay, boom. I basically already have it all set out. I'm not going to be gunboating with my Fubuki, so that's a no... I'm not even going to run that. And the AA on the Fubuki's trash, so contact is imminent is a no-brainer. Concealment, a no-brainer. Now, you could run before it's too late, but no, I don't care. We're running Look at Me Now. Back in stock, a no-brainer, because this, again, this helps my reload out with my torpedoes. I can get my torpedoes back quick. But I do see an argument with running Velocious. This increases your maneuverability, or your speed, rather. So there you go. And there is also an option for reaching out, but again, it's a Japanese torpedo boat. You should never have to be using your main batteries, okay? Almost never. I mean, you still can, but you don't want to be further increasing it. Just take the extra rudder shift and the extra steering gear repair time with steer clear. And this is a trend you're going to have throughout all these lines, is you're going to eventually figure out what works best for you. And you're going to be able to kind of analyze these commanders and be like, okay, this is a destroyer. What are destroyers about? Destroyers are about concealment. Okay, I should probably put on some concealment perks, you know? You'll start figuring this stuff out. It'll eventually just make sense. Everything will work out. And these commanders, if you build them right, even the base commanders can be good. You can get some really nice stuff out of them. Like, even some of them have pretty good, like, base traits that you can apply on other commanders. So, really, you just want to be looking out for this kind of stuff, right? For example, the Japanese heavy cruisers. I'm not going to use premium commanders. I do run, like, a Pregio Haguro, which is a premium commander. You can only get her by getting her out of a crate or buying her. But most of you guys are going to want to go for Isiroko Yamamoto. Isiroko Yamamoto is the best gun build, or the best, like, you know, slapperoni commander. Okay, if you want to get the most out of your guns. In my opinion, that's what you want with your Japanese cruisers. The Japanese cruisers have disgusting high explosive throughout the whole entire line, and you want to get the most out of that. And Isiroko Yamamoto is the best commander for the Japanese line to do that. Free to play, of course. There's obviously better ones that are not free, but Yamamoto is a great option. Beyond range, igniter, punch through, fixated, refill station. This is the exact same build that I run on my American cruisers. Literally. Except sometimes I put fully packed on my American cruisers. But, literally, this build is the exact same that is on Norman Scott that we covered on the American line. You noticing a trend? A lot of this stuff kind of just like my playstyle, for example. I love guns. So, naturally, I'm going to go with like someone like Yamamoto here, right? It just makes sense, you know what I mean? Now, moving on to the battleships. Takeo Takagi. I still run them. I still put them on all my Japanese battleships, pretty much, because I love getting the most out of the guns. You notice a trend here. Guns are my favorite thing. I love guns. I'm an American, so I can't help it. But, see, we're starting to notice a trend. I love guns, so I build into guns, right? You see what I mean? That's my play style. I love smacking bitches. Not in real life, of course. Don't smack bitches in real life. But, no, I love smacking bitches in games. It still doesn't sound any better, though. Maybe in GTA 6. But, no, I love hitting people hard with guns. It's fun. And, again, this is the same build I have literally on my William Sims. The same build. Literally, pretty much. Because I love smacking people with these Japanese guns. Like, for example, on the Yamato, later down the line, when you get the Yamato, you got the biggest guns in the game. You've got the fucking 460 millimeter. You got the 460 millimeter card dealerships you can launch at people. Literally, the Yamato and the Musashi both launch card dealerships. Armor-piercing Toyota Priuses. I'm talking about. These are huge shells that you're launching. So naturally, I want to get the most out of them, so I build into the guns, right? Okay. Now, we're getting over to some nations that I do actually play differently. It's literally the same for the British as well. Like, I run the same sort of deal. The British, I love their guns. So I naturally build into the guns on most of them. But for some nations, like Germany, now I do some different things with the Germans. The Germans are a nation where there's a lot of different things you can do, especially on their battleships primarily. German battleships are notorious for having secondary builds and being able to brawl because a lot of them get torpedoes, okay? Like, for example, the Brandenburg here, one of my favorite brawling ships. My favorite ship to just charge in there and die because that's usually how it goes. But sometimes, if I get lucky, I go absolutely apeshit crazy and I just murder everybody and secondary them down and I torp them, and it's fucking hilarious when it actually works out. But this is the only kind of build that I veer off from. Otto Ciliax here is a brawler build, and all of his skills are helpful towards your survivability, your secondaries, and all that jazz. Like Otto Ciliax here, a good day's work, that's what I run. Damage control party, cooldown time, -8%, so I can quickly get my damage control back. Now, if you really want to go the brawler route, you could run brawler. You could just put on the skill brawler. The only thing I don't like about this, though, is it decreases the range of your main guns by about 10%. I really don't like that, especially in standard battles, when I need to have my guns at least out to 17 kilometers. So, for me, I like to run a good day's work. I still retain my range, so I can still smack people out to longer ranges, okay? Now, I do run Porcupine. Again, because secondaries, the German secondary batteries, the little guns that you don't actually shoot, you know, the little guns that are on your sides, right? A lot of you guys might be watching this video and have no idea what secondary batteries are. But they're basically, you have your main guns there, right? The big old main guns that you shoot, and then you got all the other guns that are controlled by AI. See all those little tiny guns along the side? Yeah, all of those little guns will fire off and just demolish people. Not demolish people, but they'll do damage, they'll set fires. And it's kind of funny when you have them reaching out to 10 kilometers plus some, and you're just dishing those out, and you're throwing out some main guns, and you're throwing out torpedoes. It's funny. It's fun. And I see why a lot of people love these German battleships. There is a lot of fun to be had, but there's also a lot of pain and suffering to be had when I play them. That's for sure. But, like, look at this, for example. On my build, I've got an 11.5 kilometer secondary range. I literally got a couple cruisers strapped to each side of my ship, and I'm dishing out all these little shits, like, at every 3 seconds. It's pretty funny. I don't know. But, yeah, secondary builds. Again, there's just a lot of things that you can experiment with. Even on the American battleships. Some of the American battleships, like I have, for example, on my Massachusetts, I run a secondary build on that as well. Actually, I kind of run like almost like a hybridish sort of build. Like I run, like, let me take this commander guys off so you guys don't get confused. But I'm running Willis Lee. He's a free-to-play commander. And I run not one for the nuisance. This basically makes it to where my risk of catching fire is minus 8%, and the risk of flooding and torpedo damage to the Citadel minus 8% as well. So this just helps out my survivability. It helps me stay alive longer. Porcupine. This skill is also on auto celiacs. We looked at that earlier. This helps my secondary range. Firefighter. I'm actually going to switch that back. I tried to build today, actually, and this does not help at all. Screw this perk I'm running on second thought. What this does is it makes my reload faster, minus 5%, and it makes it to where I can, if I have my shells loaded and I quickly need to swap shell types, I can do that, and I can reload them half, basically, 55%. Shell type switching time if all main battery guns are fully loaded, minus 55%, so I can pretty much swap my guns to a different shell type in like 10, 11 seconds. It's really helpful. I run Master Mechanic, so I get the extra heals. This just helps my survivability. This helps me survive longer, so I can just keep dishing out lots of firepower. And, of course, fight fire with fire. This is my just super tank build. I just go in there and I just take a bunch of damage. I pop heals. I keep throwing on body armor, and I just keep tanking. You know what I mean? That's what this battleship does best. I absolutely love the Massachusetts. It's a different build that I run. I usually run gun builds on my American ships, but the Massachusetts is an exception to that rule. It's one of the only American battleships that I actually veer off from the whole gun thing, and I just go full-on apeshit crazy mode with the tanking abilities and stuff. But, to be honest with you, the Massachusetts naturally has good guns. You really don't need to build into it much. So, getting extra bonuses to your secondaries and whatnot is beneficial. Okay. Obviously, you have other nations too. And really, honestly, I don't even need to go into them. I think you guys should get the point by now. Okay, each nation has their own designated commanders. Like, Andre Lemonnier. He's a pretty good commander to run on most of your French cruisers if you want to get the most out of your guns. Now, let's say if you don't want to get the most out of your guns, if you like being a fast cruiser, you just love moving around the map really quick, then running Andre Roux would be the best option for you. Okay, obviously, because there's all sorts of skills here that help his speed and maneuverability and everything. Okay, just read all these commanders. It really isn't that complicated. You just look at everything you got and whatnot, and just put on commanders that you think is going to be best for you, and play with them. Try stuff out, and just kind of mix and match stuff and figure things out. I really don't have to go super in depth from here, I think. Now, what I'm going to talk about for the end of the video here is where do you get these commanders? Okay, I know a lot of you guys are probably screaming at me, like, if you're new to the game, like, how do I get new commanders? How do I get commander crates so I can unlock new commanders for all my different nations? Well, you do that. Number one, there is one way of doing it, and you can come into the commanders tab, and you can you can literally go in here and buy the commanders outright. Okay, just the base commanders. But you can get all these commanders out of crates. You don't even have to do this. But for me personally, I actually come in here a lot. Like, for example, I have 1,000,000 commander XP. And since I already have my William Sims fully maxed out, I have him fully maxed out. There's nothing else I can do for him. What I like to do is if I buy him, like if I buy him again, if I get a duplicate William Sims, I will get a universal commendation. And universal commendations are so helpful because you can use those universal commendations and you can use those to level up your commanders to legendary skills. You can literally upgrade their legendary perks, okay? And this is so important to have. So anytime I have spare commander XP, I come into the store and I buy duplicate commanders. And what this does is it gives me a duplicate. It gives me a what do you call it? A universal commendation, which I can use for any commanders in the entire game. Okay. But the place where you actually get the commander crates, though, if we come over to containers, you can get them in here. Now you can pay 10 million doubloons. Don't do that early on. Never do that early on, ever. Never do that. Especially early on. You need that. You need those credits for buying ships, so do not do that. But for end game players, this is the place you come to buy commander crates. But for most people, for average everyday players like me, like you, like everybody else in this game, the best way to get commander crates is by just coming into the missions tab. Now it's not here for me. The mission chain is not here for me because I already did them all pretty much. Actually, I might have them in here. Let's see. Yes, the weekly boost. So every single week, Wargaming, and you know, this has been going on since the dawn of time, since the game's been out. Every single week, you can come into this. You can come into your missions tab. You can do these missions, and you can get a bunch of rewards. Okay, as you guys can see, you get one commander crate. Okay, you get a commander crate every single week. Every week, you get one commander crate. As long as you just win a battle and earn 7,000 XP a week. That's super easy to do. You can get that done super fast, and then you can come over, and you can open that commander crate, and it will give you a random commander. It'll give you a completely random commander out of the whole entire commander roster in World of Warships Legends. It will not give you a premium commander, but it will give you just a random commander. It can give you literally, it can give you William Sims, it can give you Yamamoto, it can give you literally anything. Okay, so let's say, for example, I am starting out World of Warships Legends, and I don't know, I want to go down the German cruiser line, okay? Well, if I really need a commander, like let's say, okay, I love my German cruisers, I love smacking people with the guns. Well, the commander you're going to want is Karl von Moeller. Let's pretend like I don't have him, okay? Let's pretend like I do not have Karl von Moeller. Okay, I come on, I do my weeklies, I do my weekly mission for the commander crate. I come up here to open the commander crate, and boom, I get Karl von Moeller out of it. But it's a chance, okay? You never know what you're going to get. But what I will tell you, though, I will say this. Eventually, you will get every single commander in the game. They have made it to where you cannot receive a duplicate commander out of the commander crates unless you already have all of them. So basically, if you already received a commander, you will not get that commander again. You will get it next week. You'll get just a completely different commander. So there you go. That's how you do it. You just open commander crates every week. You just get one, open it, and hope that you get the one that you want. And you can just keep on trying and keep on trying. And you will not receive a duplicate, so you don't got to worry about like receiving the same commander over and over and over again. It actually used to be like that. It used to be where you could receive the same commander over and over and over again and never ever get the commander that you wanted. It was so bad. They finally fixed that like a few years ago. But there you go, ladies and gentlemen. My guide to commanders in World of Warships Legends. I know I probably missed some things, right? I probably missed some things. Like, for example, I haven't even talked about like the commander resources, really. I'll do that real quick. But most of this stuff, once you really look into it, it's going to make sense to you. So as you guys can see in the top right, we have Commander XP. The Commander XP you will use just to upgrade your commander. You need Commander XP to get your commander ranked up, okay? And eventually you'll need promotion orders and insignias, and you will need to link those, and you will need to use those along with your Commander XP to further level your commander up. For example, right to level 7, you will have to start using promotion orders to get your commander past rank 7, okay? So starting at rank 7 and past it, you will have to start using promotion orders. Past rank 11, you will have to start using insignias, okay? And the only way to get promotion orders and insignias are from your standard crates that you get every day, you know, from the store. Like, for example, in the store right now, in the offers tab, there's a free crate right here. And there's a chance that you can get all sorts of different commander items in here. Let's open it real quick. Let's see if we get some, just for the video. Come on. Of course, we didn't get nothing for the video. But the point is, there's so many challenges out here, guys. Like, we talked about this in yesterday's video where I went over the things that players need to be doing. This is just kind of like an add-on to that. But, like, look in the missions tab. There's all sorts of different stuff you can do. Like, for commander progression items, okay? Not really in here. There's really not many in here. Actually, there's none in here. But for the weekly boost, there is. So, see, they give out 5 promotion orders here. They give out 5 there. They give out 10 promotion orders there. They give out 10 promotion orders there. And they give out Commander XP flags. They give out 10 promotion orders there. They give out 10 there. So you guys can see the, see what's going on. They give out lots of promotion orders. Insignias, however, are a lot harder to come by. Really, the only way to get those is by doing premium supplies, I believe. I think you get some, right? Yeah, you get 1 for legendary. There is another way of getting them, and that is by doing your campaign stuff. In the campaign, they do give out a lot of insignias, if I recall. Let's see. I'm pretty sure they should, right? Insignias? Like, do they give out any for free? Holy smokes. It's actually kind of hard to get your commanders leveled up, isn't it? Oh, yeah, they do give out 1 here. They give out an insignia there. At level 30 in the campaign, you can get 1 insignia there. You can get... let's see. You can get... There's a promotion order. Wow, really? Only 1 is... There's no way, right? Surely they give you another one at, like, the end of it, right? There's no way they only give you 1 insignia. Holy shit, they only give you 1 insignia for the free-to-play players? That's brutal. I'm sorry for you free-to-play players out there. That's brutal. That's next level. Now, if you buy the campaign, you can get a bunch more. And the campaign's usually only $10. But I would not recommend doing that yet. Don't buy the campaigns until you're ready, okay? Until you know what they're basically about. But anyway, regardless of everything, that is Commanders in World of Warships Legends. I've made a video like this in the past, but I don't think I went as in-depth as I did today. There's probably some things I missed. Again, every commander, there's different builds. You just have to read stuff and figure it out for yourself. Every person in this game's different. Every player has different playstyles, and that's okay. You need to find your playstyle. You need to figure out what ships you like, and then build your commanders around that playstyle and whatnot. And that's what I do. I love guns, so I build my commanders around guns, right? So I always encourage you guys to experiment, have fun, enjoy the game. And with all that out of the way, thank you guys for watching. I hope you all have a fantastic rest of your weeks. And I will catch you guys on the next one. See ya.